Thank you for coming. We'll be as brief as possible. Your time is valuable. This won't take long. This won't take long at all. Obviously, a minor incident occurred in the school lavatories which may have caused some distress. Something was written, scrawled on the walls. There's been a lot of speculation around this, which we would obviously like to nip in the bud. But that's all we're going to say at this point. Except to say the school neither endorses the message nor the medium through which the message was conveyed. Nor do we accept responsibility for the incident or its effect on the members of the school or indeed the wider community. The wider community occasionally has access to the lavatories when they use the school sports hall, or part of our drive to improve the school. So we wish to apologise for any offence caused, assure you that lessons have been learned and that we now intend to draw a line under things and move on. Obviously. Thank you for coming. That's the end of our statement.
Thank you all for coming. 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 We will be as brief as possible. Your time is valuable. Apparently, some of you found our previous statement unsatisfactory.
By saying the incident may have caused distress, may have been taken to imply no distress was caused.
Distress was caused. We're not trying to undermine or downplay the seriousness of anybody's lived experience. We take this seriously. We take our responsibility very seriously. We weren't trying to throw more fuel onto the fire, pour salt onto the wounds.
Throw acid in the eyes.
That's inappropriate. So, we wish to make it clear that we're sorry for any distress that was caused, and we are apologising now for the original incident, in the hope that we can now draw a line under the whole business.
What was the incident?
And move on.
What was the incident?
I'm sorry, we've got no time for questions now.
Thank you all for coming. We will be as brief as possible. Your time is valuable. In our previous statement, we attempted to draw a line under the matter. It has since come to our attention that this was inappropriate, and there was some lack of clarity about the incident itself. Accordingly, we wish to clarify the incident in the hope of drawing a line under the incident.
And providing closure.
Some words were written, scrawled on the lavatory walls by whom we don't know. Words which may have been deemed offensive.
Were deemed offensive.
Mr. Lawrence, our wonderful caretaker, found the words, cleaned the words, and that was that.
I hope that clears everything up.
What were the words?
Sorry?
What were the words?
I hope that draws a line.
Thank you all for coming. We will be as brief as possible. Your time is valuable. Apparently, some information was omitted from our previous statement.
We weren't trying to underplay the seriousness of the statement or the message that was smeared on the walls.
Did you say smeared?
No.
You did, you said smeared.
Scrawled, I meant scrawled on the walls. In the spirit of openness, we wish to share with you the message that was scrawled on the walls.
So that we can finally draw a line under this whole business.
The message was as follows.
Eat my shit, Alan!
Why are you shouting?
It was written in capitals.
In capitals? My gosh, we're dealing with an insane person. Who is Alan?
We don't know.
What do you mean you don't know?
We don't know any Allens.
We are not aware of an Alan.
All we know is that someone smeared this on the walls.
You said it again, you just said smeared again.
I mean scrawled on the walls.
What was the message scrawled in exactly?
Human excrement and blood, we think.
It was written
In
in
shit and blood, yes.
all of it. That's a lot of shit.
It was spread quite thinly.
Hang on, was it spread or smeared?
Smeared. It was smeared. Mr. Lawrence spent his entire weekend cleaning it off.
Eat my shit, Alan!
Thank you. We get the idea.
Poor Mr. Lawrence.
The staff have had a whip round. £41 Amazon vouchers. And £1. The thing is, someone had already taken photographs,
Images. They're images.
some of which are now in the public domain.
Images
Of the shit, yes, and the blood.
Can we stop saying shit?
Shall we bring it back to excrement?
Actually, I think shit is better.
Let's stick with shit and see how we get on.
What kind of person smears shit and blood on the walls?
Clearly, whoever did it was psychologically disturbed.
That's an offensive statement. Not all psychologically disturbed people smear shit and blood on the walls.
Why else would you smear shit?
A protest?
I'm not sure it was a protest.
It could have been. Eat my shit, Alan!
That is not a protest.
Perhaps it was a metaphor.
For what?
About what? Any number of things. The government, climate change,
The final season of Game of Thrones.
Speculation is not helpful.
There are questions we need answered. Who is behind this? Who is it intended for? And who is Alan?
We need to issue an apology.
But we're not responsible.
It happened on the premises of our school, a school with children. Someone has to take responsibility. We need to shut this down.
Can we control this? Can we contain the shit?
It's too late. The shit is out there.
And the blood?
Have you... It's already on Insta.
Oh my gosh.
Have you seen Twitter? Twitter is angry. Reddit is angry. Upworthy is angry.
Mum's dead. They're furious.
There's a meme. There's a meme of the shit and blood. It's getting a good ratio.
It's getting out of hand.
It's getting a very good ratio.
The shit and the blood is out of hand.
Can we just stop saying shit and blood? Can we just say smears?
Is everyone happy with smears?
I can live with smears. YouTube takedowns. We are now very much aware that we should not have been attempting to draw a line at all. It was never our intention to shut down the conversation, and it seems closure was not desired. Which is why we're here today, to open up real dialogue. We want to hear divergent voices, not just the normal voices. We want to hear other voices too.
The abnormal.
No.
No, God, we're not saying they're abnormal.
We're simply saying we're inviting all voices to be heard.
And to this end, we will be hosting a meeting, which we will of course make as accessible as possible, and to create even further accessibility, we will be broadcasting said meeting.
We will be live streaming the event. The real meeting will also be accessible.
We have a ramp.
This meeting is an opportunity to air grievances and for a plethora of voices to be heard. Dialogue created and bridges built.
We have a ramp.
And for those of you affected by any words or images you have seen, there will be a helpline. Thank you.
We have a ramp.
Oh, and please use the hashtag.
Hashtag #EYSHALLON! Hashtag WeAreAllen!
Hashtag solidarity for Alan!
Hashtag free Alan! Hashtag free Alan! Hashtag Alan is the man! Hashtag Alan lives matter! Hashtag shit blood Alan! Hashtag remember Mr. Lawrence!
Thank you all for coming. We will be as brief as possible. Your time is valuable. We wish to acknowledge the issues raised concerning yesterday's meeting. We recognise and value your feedback, and we recognise the immense courage it took for you to speak out.
Both about the original incident as well as yesterday's meeting.
Regarding yesterday's meeting, we are grateful for your feedback.
And in the light of your feedback, we regret the inflammatory nature of yesterday's meeting.
We could have managed yesterday's meeting better.
Had we been aware of the demonstrations taking place outside yesterday's meeting,
And inside yesterday's meeting, as well as the counter demonstrations.
And the counter demonstrations.
we may not have proceeded with yesterday's meeting. We were unaware of the strong sentiment, both pro and anti-Allen, that existed, and we regret subsequent events.
The eye gouging, the decapitation,
Yes.
the
we
maiming,
regret
the ligament
all of
scarring,
it.
the tendon scarring, the serious injuries that occurred.
We regret all of it.
We regret that some of the injuries were life-changing.
Not least the decapitation.
The decapitation was definitely life-changing. The decapitation was regrettable.
We're not saying that people with life-changing injuries can't live fulfilling lives. We're not saying that.
We're not trying to undermine the contribution to society of people with the less than normal number of heads.
Don't say normal.
The conventional number of heads.
They are full members of society, in some cases contributing more than those whose lives haven't been radically changed by decapitation-related injuries. In fact, one could even say that those injuries have inspired such a
we wish to apologise for the wording of yesterday's statement pertaining to yesterday's meeting, pertaining to the previous day's statement, pertaining to the statement before that, pertaining to the original incident.
Some of which was less than clear, particularly the inference that certain injuries
Up to and including but not limited to decapitation.
might be seen as life improving. We wish to retract that statement.
We will now embark on a period of reflection, during which time we aim to clarify the processes by which the decisions that we made were made.
In order to ensure all future decisions are sound.
Which isn't to say we didn't have processes in place before.
Oh no, we don't want to give that impression.
We had processes.
Coming out of our asses.
Not literally, that would be inappropriate.
Especially given the nature of the original smears.
But rest assured, there were processes.
If there were processes, why were the decisions made not sound?
Sorry.
If there were processes, why were the decisions made not sound?
If there were
I
processes.
think
you need to calm down. You're too small to have an opinion. There is a perfectly reasonable, rational explanation for that.
Yes, we're perfectly rational, reasonable people, as I expect, as I hope is.
We like clarity.
Too much fuzziness in the world.
Too much chat.
Too many people avoiding responsibility by talking their way out of things.
Which is why we're taking responsibility.
We are owning our decisions.
Our mistakes.
And that's rare.
This is getting out of hand, and it's affecting the brand.
What brand?
Our brand!
We don't have a brand.
Everyone has a brand. Everything has a brand. Where do you think the school gets its money from?
The government?
The government. Who do you think pays for the sports hall? And who do you think pays for the drama studio? And who do you think pays for? Who do you think pays for the food? And do you think that we just conjure paper and pencils out of dinner?
We need to raise funds for books. We need raffles, cake bakes, fancy dress days, parents playing the trombone, bouncy castles, fun runs. We need the support from the community.
So how is that going? Why are people so sick? Too many haters. Hashtag free Alan. Alan is my boy. Hashtag free Alan. Cannot believe you support this. Who emoji and blood? What's the world come to? This good stand. Hashtag lock him up. Who is funding you? Hashtag didn't say Alan. Hashtag stop smearing Alan.
I'm not convinced these are real people.
I think this is a work of bots. I wouldn't worry.
Yes, Russian bots and conspiracy theorists. Yes!
It's all just blow over.
Yes, conspiracy theorists. Grown men in airless rooms in Greater Manchester or Clapham or Hove, trolling people like us on the internet.
Innocent people like us.
Yes, exactly. Pausing only when their mothers come in with a sandwich, a cup of hot tea and some clean underpants.
It's all just blow over. I wouldn't worry about it. No, it'll all just blow over. You'll see.
Celebrities are calling us out.
What?
There's a hashtag.
Hashtag stop smearing Alan is catching on. Hashtag stop smearing Alan is trending. Tess Daly has called us out. Lorraine has called us out.
Harry Lineker has called us out.
But Piers Morgan has tweeted in support. Benedict Cumberbatch, on the other hand, is appalled.
Cumberbatch.
Cumberbatch is shocked and appalled.
Cumberbatch is distancing himself from us.
Sherlock is distancing himself from us.
He's donating all payments from his next television to the fund.
What? Fund!
The hashtag free Alan fund.
But there is no Alan!
There must be! There's a fund!
Where is all this money coming from?
Where's it going?
Is Alan exploiting the situation for his own personal gain?
I think we need to be cautious not to scapegoat. We need to find Alan. We don't want this to turn into a pylon.
We're not suggesting a witch hunt.
But we don't want a cover-up.
We can't be seen to allow a cover-up.
We need to be seen to do something.
We need to kill this now, before it gets out of hand.
We now go live to Downing Street, where the lectern is out, and the Prime Minister will shortly be giving a statement.
Look, It would be anti-democratic of me to go against the will of the people. If voters are against these smears, then it's not our role to nanny or mollycoddle. We're here to say, if that's what you want, chaps, full steam ahead, right behind you.
The leader of the opposition has released a statement.
My position is clear. I don't approve of these smears. I'm not personally a fan. But if we take time to properly reflect on the underlying causes of these smears...
Breaking news. According to a new opinion poll, the public is now against the smears. We're going live to Downing Street and... yes, the lectern is out. The lectern is out. The Prime Minister is standing behind the lectern. The lectern is out.
If you look at what I actually said, the point that I was making, if you'll let me finish.
No one's interrupting.
Yes, if you'll let me finish.
But no one's interrupting.
Yes, the point I was trying to make is that smears are part and parcel of daily life, and the public is frankly sick of hearing about these smears, and people just want to get on with their lives.
The President of the United States is tweeting about the smears.
The biased mainstream media has been trying to smear me since day one. All of them have failed. Somebody needs to do something about these loser smears. Sad.
According to a phone-in, 84% of Good Morning Britain viewers blame Raheem Sterling. And yes, the lectern is back out. The Prime Minister is releasing a new statement clarifying his position.
When I said that people were making too much of these smears, it's clear what I meant was that ordinary, decent people just want to live in a society where small business can flourish, children can play in the streets, free of the fear of the smear. I do not shirk this challenge. Those who live by the smear shall die by the smear. They shall not prosper. That's why, to quote Shakespeare, or someone, we will crack down on the smear menace with a velvet fist wrapped in an iron glove. Or is it the other way round?
We now go live to Carpet World in Croydon, where people are rioting.
Angry mob in yellow vests are throwing milkshakes at Carpet World. Someone attempted to set a low shag carpet on fire. We're on fire! We're on fire! Water cannons are being deployed as we speak. Water cannons have failed. The water cannons don't work. It's anarchy. JD Sports is on fire. Mothercare is on fire. Primark is on fire.
And according to a new poll, 87% of voters believe that the European Union is responsible for the smears.
Society collapsing. There are riots in the streets. A man has been decapitated. I saw his head on the spike. You saw footage of his head on the spike. It may have been doctored footage.
The footage is probably doctored. You can doctor footage on an ordinary train these days.
It looks very real. This has gone too far.
And finally, some good news. The footballer Raheem Sterling is not responsible for the smears. It turns out that he was playing football at the time.
Thank you all for coming. Brief as possible, time is valuable. We'd like to begin by apologising for any misunderstandings that arose from our previous statements.
We have examined ourselves.
We have undergone a period of further reflection. And following
during that period of reflection, we have changed.
Who we were at both the times of the initial incident and all subsequent statements does not reflect who we are now.
We are no longer ourselves. We are literally different people.
As a result, we wish to distance ourselves from our previous statements.
Because those statements we made,
we didn't make them.
No, we didn't make them because we were different people then.
We were unaware of the strength of feeling those decisions would arouse. Had we been aware, obviously, we would not have made those decisions.
It goes without saying we would have made different decisions. And I am not here to tell you that we are not afraid to seek to be wrong.
Being wrong is actually a sign of being right.
In a show of strength and leadership, we have decided to act decisively by reversing the initial decision. We are no longer apologising, and we will shortly be releasing a statement.
Thank you.
Brief,
Time valuable.
we've listened and we've heard your objections and your protests. And while you have every right to be angry, frankly, we think you should be more grateful.
We're simply not responsible for everything that goes on here. It's too big, there's too much.
I mean, what do you expect?
We can't apologise for all the incidents because we'd never stop apologising. Because it's not really a series of incidents, is it? It's a culture.
We can't apologise for a culture. We're not responsible for a culture. We didn't create the culture.
Some people may say we perpetuated it.
But they're wrong.
We're not perpetuating a culture.
We're challenging a culture.
By our actions and our words.
Which is why we're here.
On Twitter,
On Facebook,
on Instagram,
on YouTube,
on BuzzFeed,
on CNN,
on Fox News,
on Russia Today.
There's even an opinion piece in the New Yorker magazine.
Have you read it?
No, but I hear it's very good.
Well, what we're saying is,
We're saying what we did was wrong.
We're taking responsibility for things we did, but we can't take responsibility for everything. There are limits, our actions, our specific limited actions. The way we spoke to you, for instance, our tone.
We'll take responsibility for our tone, and even possibly some of the content, if our language was belittling or triggering, or any of those things. We'll take responsibility for that, for those specific things. Yes, of course it's our building. We technically run the building. We technically built the building.
Well, not us, but the people before us.
That's the thing, isn't it? It was the people before us. They laid the foundations for this. Now we're the ones having to clean up after them.
Well, Mr. Lawrence is the one doing the cleaning up.
Anyway, it's their fault really, so don't be angry with us. We're trying to make the best of a tricky situation.
And yes, in the meantime, there may be some upset.
Some minor unrest.
Some anger.
Some of you, it seems, are very angry.
Yes, people are angry.
And that's okay. You have the right to be angry, and that's valid. Within reason. Yes, within reason, of course.
You have the right to be angry. You have the right to be angry. You have the right to voice an opinion.
Until they start throwing things, well then you cross the line.
It's the line crossing we have a problem with.
What we're asking for is patience, for you to bear with us as we pull together to solve this through dialogue.
If we could just talk it out, well that's what democracy is about, and that's why we're here, to state our intentions.
Yes, about going forward, how this is all going to work.
And of course we apologise for things the people before us may have done.
Or may not have done. We're not here to judge.
And assure you, from now on,
Going forward,
things will be different.
because we're in charge, and if you trust us, if you put your future in our hands, we'll take care of you. Going forward.
Who are you exactly?
What?
Who are you exactly?
That's all we have time for.
Well, I did get a milkshake thrown at me, so who's the real winner?
Thanks. Time. Valuable. Thanks. Time. Valuable. It seems that some of you weren't happy with the previous statement. It seems that some of you weren't happy with the previous statement and have done some very silly things. Some very silly things indeed. Some of you, it seems, have smashed some things up. Ooh. Some of you have taken to the streets, which is silly. It's showing off. What we need is constructive dialogue. What we need is a time of healing to air our grievances. Not just air them, I'm talking about a sharing. A sharing of stories and empowering sharing of stories. We'll get together and we'll share stories and we'll talk. And we'll cry. What's important is we keep talking, that's right. Because as long as we're talking, then you won't actually notice that we aren't actually doing anything at all. And everything will be the same as it was.
That's a joke.
It wasn't a joke.
It was a joke. A funny joke to lighten the mood.
It wasn't a joke. Going forward, I thought we could share some stories about the incident. No! I thought we'd moved on from that. Let's not dwell on that. Let's not live in the past. I mean, positive stories. Inspirational stories of the kind you might get at the theatre.
Like the kind you get in the theatre, yes.
I saw a play once which, well, I forget what it was about. It was about people doing things. Well, they're talking mainly, but people doing things, and these things, they made them happy or sad. Sometimes even happy and sad at the same time, which of course is the most sophisticated form of theatre. Ah, it is, yes! And towards the end, someone gave the most terrific speech in which he, or was it a she? I can't remember, it was probably a he, it's usually a he. In which he basically said what life is like. And he spoke truths to the audience, and they sat and they listened while the actor playing the character, because look, they're not real. These actors, it's all made up, it's all just pretend. He articulated in the most extraordinary way these profound truths about life. Oh, they were profound. They punctured our souls. They did. My soul was punctured. And there was even, get this, there was even a school trip of the kinds of kids who don't like to stereotype or cast aspersions, but there was a school trip of the kinds of kids who, well, when they walk in, they make you, they make you...
Nervous.
Yes! Nervous! Oh, they make you nervous. nervous. Oh, they make you nervous and you wish they didn't. You wish they didn't make you nervous because you don't want to be the kind of person that gets nervous when kids go to theatre. Because it's good they go to theatre. Yes, it's good they go to theatre. It's morally improving. They need the theatre, the kids. They need to know it's for them. Because it's about life. It's about empathy.
Empathy!
It's about putting yourself in someone else's shoes and listening. And actually, really fucking listening. And I'm sorry for my language. I apologize for my language, but I'm really getting quite worked up by this. And sometimes I admit it. Sometimes I swear for emphasis. I swear to make a point. And I know some people don't like swearing, but it happens. It does happen. And somehow it's more truthful when people swear. It's more truthful, isn't it? It's more truthful because people do swear, don't they? In real life, people do swear. Because, well, in real life, some of us are actually really very angry indeed at the way things are. We don't feel listened to, we don't feel understood. We just feel patronized and overtalked. And even the people who tell us that they're listening and that they care, teachers, politicians, parents, the people in power, or even writers who write for theatre, they don't actually listen, do they? They don't actually listen. They tell you they do, but you know that they don't because nothing ever changes. And sorry, what was I saying? The play. The play. Yes. The play with the uplifting speech about life contained so many truths about life. And it really made me think. It really made me think. And you know how you could tell? Because the audience was quiet. Because the audience was quiet. Because we had achieved catharsis, which is a Greek word meaning, what does it mean? It means everything is okay again. That's right, because of the truths we've heard. Because of the truths contained in the speech. And what were the truths contained in the speech? Well, I don't think I need to get into all of that. I think I made my point clear. Time vow.
Good news. We have found the individual responsible for the initial incident.
Yes, we found him and asked them to explain themselves to Alan and to us.
To Alan.
Yes, we found Alan.
But I thought there was no Alan.
No, there is an Alan and we found him.
And this is definitely Alan.
Yes, of course it's Alan. Why would we tell you it's Alan if it's not Alan?
Are you sure you found the right person? The person responsible for the smears?
Yes, stop asking such silly questions.
Yes, we found them, and now they can come and they can apologise to Alan and to us, and we can finally draw a line under this whole sorry business.
This event will be live streamed.
Please use the hashtag.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Sorry?
Like you mean it.
Sorry.
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 Like you mean it. Sorry, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Now, if only you'd said that earlier, it would have saved us a lot of trouble.
That's not Alan. Of course it is. Are you Alan?
And that's not the person who did it.
How would you know?
Because I did it. It was me.
Stop the show. Stop the broadcast.
Cut the live feeds.
Why do you smell that shit and blood so poor Mr. Lawrence had to spend his whole weekend cleaning it up?
I don't know.
Why did you write?
Eat my shit, Alan!
Why did you write it?
I was upset.
What about?
Everything. Can you be a little more specific?
I don't know. I just did it.
Was it your shit?
Yes.
And your blood.
I had a nosebleed. I meant to write, eat my shit, all of you. But I ran out of shit and blood. And so I changed all of you to Alan. Partly because I ran out of shit and blood. Also, it seemed a bit daft.
And you thought writing, eat my shit, Alan would seem less daft.
It seemed less daft at the time.
But why did you want to write, eat my shit, all of you?
I told you, I was angry.
About what?
I trusted you, and you broke my heart. Dashed it into a million pieces. Have we met? I trusted you with my future.
Sorry. This is quite awkward.
I was born into a world where I was told things would be okay. That there would be jobs and houses, and I would be safe, and I could grow up and go to uni maybe, and better myself, and I could travel. And I was told to don't get to do what you want in life by working hard. People tell you that, but it's not true. And the more I think about it, the more I feel despair.
Don't feel despair.
I do. I feel despair.
Yeah, but don't feel despair.
People can't afford to eat. People are going out for an evening and not coming home to their mums at night. People don't feel safe to go to sleep in their own homes. People are scared. And no one is doing a thing about it. None of you. You talk and you talk and you talk. And none of this makes a difference to me or any of us. Who are you to tell me you're dealing with this?
Well, I'm sorry, but I'm not. This isn't my fault. I'm not responsible for this.
You don't care what I say. You don't listen. Well, you'll listen when I burn your house down. You'll listen when I riot in your streets. You'll listen when I make it so you can't sleep in your beds at night. You listen then, won't you?
Well, these are some very serious accusations that you're making. And might I say, though, you're being very negative.
Maybe. Some of these things are true. Maybe there was some loss of life. Maybe some people did starve to death.
Or die in their beds.
Or experience life-changing injuries.
But what you have to remember, what we all have to be grown up about and remember, is that there are far worse places to live. So actually, it's all okay.
It is certainly no excuse for spilling shit and blood on the walls, so nice Mr. Lawrence can spend his entire weekend cleaning it off.
We do not riot. That's not what we do. That's just silly, inconsiderate.
We believe in the power of talking.
We believe in dialogue.
We listen to dialogue.
And fight him off on this witch hunt, because that's what it is. If we get obsessed with ruining the lives of the people you believe are responsible, it's important to bear in mind the characters of those people.
That's right. Because these people you're branding monsters, they have families. They have families. And cherished pets.
Some of them, many of them, most of them in fact, are respected business people.
Government officials, teachers, nurses, vets. Some of them are sports coaches. Some of them drive minibuses and pick children up from broken homes to play sport on a Saturday. Some of them run the country.
Some of them past prime ministers. Some of them current prime ministers.
Or future prime ministers.
And we can't arrest them all, can we?
That's just silly.
Like all of this silly stuff that you did for attention. Because that's what it was, wasn't it? It was for attention.
Smearing shit and blood like a silly.
No one cares. Everyone's moved on.
Twitter has moved on.
Benedict Cumberbatch has moved on.
Lorraine has moved on. Gary Lineker has moved on.
Piers Morgan is still tweeting, but no one pays him any minds.
So it didn't work, did it? But it's still good to talk, isn't it? In forums like these. Because if we can't talk to each other and listen and learn to love and forgive and heal and help one another move on, then what hope is there? Forgiveness is what makes us human. How else can we grow? How else can we develop? How else can there be hope? So, if we can just focus on this. Your apology. To all of us for wasting our time.
We wish to apologise for what you've just heard.
We're concerned it may not have been as uplifting as you hoped.
We're concerned it may have been unsatisfactory.
We're concerned it may have left you angry and unfulfilled.
And that won't do. So we've taken the decision to cancel the person responsible.
We've cancelled him.
Permanently?
Forever. We've cancelled him forever. He is now cancelled.
So he won't be troubling any of you again.
What? Cancelled?
Yes, cancelled.
What? Cancelled?
Oh no, not cancelled. He's just gonna go to a place where cancelled people go.
And where is that?
Somewhere in the north. Or Wales. Scotland. Basingstoke, somewhere like that.
Somewhere far away from us.
And any suggestion that we manufactured this entire incident to distract from something bigger, well, we refute that entirely.
Entirely.
Time. We can't pretend it's a one-off anymore. This is endemic.
It's not about a few rotten apples. 1 or 2 old eggs.
This is systemic. We need to own this.
That's why this time it can't just be about the individual.
We need to acknowledge that we have a corporate responsibility, all of us, to make this right.
Together.
Accordingly, the head of our organisation will shortly be releasing a brief statement to take full responsibility for any incidents that have occurred. When I say the head, I don't mean the actual head.
That simply isn't possible. He's far too busy.
However, a member of staff will be reading out this short statement on behalf of the head, taking full responsibility for any incidents that may have occurred. Thank you.
Hashtag eat my shit, Alan! Hashtag we are Ireland!
Hashtag solidarity for Alan!
Hashtag free Alan! Hashtag free Alan! Hashtag Alan is the man!
Hashtag Alan lives matter! Hashtag shit blood Alan! Hashtag remember Mr. Lawrence!
It was not me. What I did was not me. That is not, in fact, my behaviour. My behaviour at the time in no way reflects who I am. I take full ownership of my behaviour, while at the same time wishing to reassure you that my behaviour was not in fact my own. It was someone else's behaviour. And although it was not my behaviour, it did in fact belong to the old me. A me that no longer exists. I take full ownership of my behaviour. And of course, any and all future behaviours that may occur. Are you happy? Are you satisfied?
We hope that you are not left feeling uneasy, unsure, or excluded from this process.